Hi and welcome to Andy Gorman Golf One Putt podcast, and we're here for round 2, hole 18. That means we've done 36 holes, 36 episodes of the Andy Gorman Golf One Putt podcast. And we're going to take a little break, okay? We are going to be having a little bit of time off, partly because the Wingman has a new job. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the products that we've had. We're in the studio, as you can see. We haven't snuck off to Augusta, or even though we kind of feel like we should have done. And we will do probably the next time we see you. We're going to have a little break. We're going to take March off. That's primarily what we're going to be doing. But we're going to talk today about Bettinardi and what they're going to be working with us on. Working with me because he's on his way. Great new opportunity for him, and I wish him all the best. I have to say goodbye in person. We've been in the studio here looking at new products, so it's not just Bettinardi, but also the Duca del Cosmo range and the Galvin Green range of clothing, because I will be clothed in the very best products that I can get my hands on, and gaming all the very best clubs as well. So stay tuned, and we'll catch you in a moment. So we're here today in the studio. We've snuck in, of course it's all above board and legal, of course, because we are allowed to do what we need to do when you can't do it from home. So we are here today. I'm here with Gareth. You recognise the face. You probably recognise the voice much more. Gareth, welcome. Thanks for coming over.
No worries at all, it's lovely.
It's round 2, hole 18. 36 podcasts we've done, Gareth. Couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you.
Mixed emotions today because it's a bit of a swan song for you, and a little bit of a sort of we'll just hold fire at this point in time where we're going. But ultimately, we're last of the series. We're last at this point in time. I'm not saying we haven't made the cut. All right, but we're not going into round 3 just yet. So we've had a cracking morning. But it's a bit of a sad one, really, because we can't not do podcasts this week without talking about what's happened to Tiger.
No, yeah.
And kind of ironic, really, wasn't it? You know, last week's podcast, I did say he wouldn't play in the Masters.
Yeah.
And Becky asked me last night. She said, do you regret what you said? I don't regret what I've said. Who could have called it? I didn't feel that Tiger looked well enough on Sunday evening when when he was being interviewed, and I stand by that. I did feel that he was under a little bit of pressure to answer questions he couldn't answer about his own body, but nobody could have foreseen what's happened, and it's very tragic. We don't know too much. We are recording on Friday, ready for post to go out on Monday, so we don't know much at the moment. Obviously, by the time we go live with the podcast, we'll probably know a little bit more, but it's going to be a couple of years of recovery for sure. And they're career-defining injuries. There's no question of that. We do know that he's got serious leg injuries. So, Tiger, we just say, get yourself well. The golfing world, are talking about you. We all love you. And ultimately, we want to see you back as soon as your body and your mind allows you to do so. You are always missed when you're not playing golf, and we wish you all a speedy recovery. There will be a lot of Tiger reminiscing, I'm sure, going on all over the world. We've already seen it in all the social media platforms, but we do wish you a speedy recovery, and we want to see you back as soon as possible. But again, in your own time. Interestingly, we've done a bit of testing today with some product which, of course, Tiger's very familiar with, which is the Bridgestone golf ball. We've done a little bit of short game testing, watching what happens to the spin of the golf ball on short shots, testing a few new wedges as well. We can safely say that Bettinardi putters and wedges will be in the Andy Gorman Golf Academy going into the new season. Of course, we've got a little bit of a heads up on it. Last week we were talking about what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. We're still a little bit sort of, it's the end of March, we know that. And when the academy will be open, we're really not too sure. But Gareth, I want to hand over to you a little while, let you, sort of tell us what you're going to be doing, because you will do it far more justice than I ever will. You're leaving Mediate, you're leaving me. I'm sure you're familiar with the work, even if you didn't really know what he did, but Gareth ultimately has been my wingman. I've called him wingman, all the way through, but he's been my wingman on the basis that he's supported everything that we've done social media. That's to some degree not going to change. We've got, other sort of alternatives in place, so you're going to continue to see what we see. Podcast was going to come to a natural sort of slowing down and have a little bit of a pause, partly because we didn't know where we were going with regards to the new season, and we want to be very current and fresh with that, and so there's a little bit of a delay on coming back for round 3. But ultimately, Gareth, you're leaving Mediate in order to go to the PGA.
Mm-hmm.
So the PGA of Great Britain, known as the PGA, ultimately, what's your new role going to be?
So we're going to be looking after member education and training, coordinating. So not dissimilar to what we do now, supporting with webinars, supporting with online content, and really just to try and enhance the experience for the members, give the members a lot of kind of old school CPD opportunity, and you can do that in your own time as well.
So the CPD is continued professional development, and it gave us as PGA professionals, which Gareth is as well, the opportunity to further our educational knowledge about varying topics, not necessarily all obviously golf related to a degree, but things like social media development and how we get our businesses out of the dark ages and into what is now digital. I'm looking forward to seeing what you've got coming forward, going forward. But what do you see your new role bringing forward? I know you can't tell us everything that you're going to be doing because you probably don't know yourself fully, and I'm certainly not going to help you get fired before you get started by asking you a question like, what would you like to see happen? But ultimately, there's nothing like controversy if Andy's not talking. But ultimately, what do you see your sort of daily role? Because everything's changed.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot more online based. So using the new PGA Learning platform and trying to put content out there that people can easily access. If that's webinars with leading professionals, if that's people from the business community, it's not just like you said, it's not golf. Might be looking at other coaches in other sports and disciplines, just to support the members offering really, and get as much out there for people while they're still at home or while they're trying to learn and develop their businesses, to kind of focus their attention. Because like you said, it's still 4 weeks away until we pick up the golfing baton again, and we don't know when ranges, we don't know when stores can really reopen. So he's trying to create as much content for fellow pros as we can.
I mean, we've had an exciting morning this morning with Bettinardi here, playing Bridgestone, and looking at the product offering that they have and what we're going to be rolling out going forward. So again, by for another 4 weeks or so, we'll be putting posts out to say, look, you've had a little sneak peek as well, those of you that are looking. But looking at the products that are going to be here and what's going to be coming in, still going to be rolling out, with Seymour, as a primary brand here, on the basis that Seymour's not going to go away. We're here offering quality products. But more importantly, it's about offering products that can be custom built. We've got to finalise our offering with regards to the wedges, with Bettinardi, but they are also available for custom build as well. I can buy heads, and ultimately the shafts that go with those, to be able to design wedges around your capability. They have a great lineup of wedges and grind offerings as well. Not as big a brand, in terms of, well known for wedges, they're relatively new in the marketplace, albeit they've probably been doing wedges now for, sort of 10 or 15 years or so, but they're expanding that line and creating a great looking wedge with different grind offerings, 50 right the way through, 2 degree increments up to 60. So great offering available for product, and ultimately be able to dial that club in. The wedges are so important. We have Edison wedges, that are new into the UK, they're new into the golf industry, they've only been around for sort of 12 months or so. Now as a product, the designer has been around a heck of a lot longer in Terry Colo, and we're looking at the feasibility from a standpoint of UK offering. What can we do with the Edison wedges? A great lineup of wedges, and the idea is ultimately for me is to make sure that the wedges that we're offering, the putters that we're offering, are all custom built for the customer, not just the case of, I'll have one of those because it looks nice. Does it grind to be able to interact with the ground to suit your game? Does it have the loft and the lie and the bounce angles and everything else that are going to be suitable for you? For me, that means more investment. I have to be able to adjust the clubs for you, when we put them out there. So we are, they're looking at forged offerings, to be able to bring the very best of product in, and it's important that we get our wedges right. If we dial those wedges in, we get the right shafts on the right heads, with the right loft and the right bounce, and the grinds, all of those factors are going to be, critical to your ability to be able to improve your short game. They're a super looking club. We've hit some shots this morning in here. We haven't hit full shots with them, obviously, in here, because it could have gone into the studio, but we decided that the demo clubs need to still look a little bit pristine. We didn't want to wear the grooves out just yet and hit a couple of 100 shots or so with them. So we haven't hit full shots, but looking forward to putting those into action, into the Short Game Academy in the spring. So, again, and then back to putters. Ultimately, putter manufacturers that supply putters of 38 inches uncut into Andy Gorman Golf already have my ear. Any manufacturer who can only drop finished product at 33, 34 and 35, I'm not interested. I say that with the utmost of fervency but also sincerity. I'm not interested in the ability to be able to not offer custom build products to my customers who are discerning. You as my customer is a discerning individual, and you come and walk through the door, you want that golf club to be custom built. You don't want to spend, $200, $300, $400 plus pounds, dollars, etc., by asking me to build something for you, and then I have to cut a grip off and not be able to replace it with the same grip because manufacturers limit the supply. And ultimately, I want to be able to supply the best putters with, more importantly, the best build quality capability. When I can build a putter accurate to within 1/4 of an inch and 1/4 of a degree with premium brands and serious players in the golf industry who are concerned about how you putt as much as how their business grows, then you've got my ear. So Bettinardi's coming in, we've got Even Roll and Seymour that have been in that order. Seymour have been with me now for nearly 10 years. And I say been with me as much as I've been with them. They are part of my family, I feel part of their family. Ultimately, we know each other very, very well, and for those of you that have not seen, I've been on the putting couch. They know their stuff when it comes to putters, and it may not be a putter brand that rolls off your tongue with immediate effect. The other brands may well be, but they make a premium product and give me the capability to be able to make the putter that suits you absolutely 100% with accuracy to within 1/4 of an inch and 1/4 of a degree. So, check out the products that are available to you. Have a look online and then contact me to arrange fitting or a putting stroke consultation. Gareth, have you got anything more to add at this point? I might throw a curveball at you in a second. But.
Thanks very much. No, but I think really exciting times moving forward. I know this is almost like an end of a chapter, but as you were saying, we've had amazing conversations with luxury golf brands we're going to be supporting, Ducadal Cosmo, Garmin Green. We've got premium brands coming into the academy for the new season, and I think that's really exciting. We both were like kids in sweet shops this morning when a new product come in, and we were testing and we were just waxing lyrical about the opportunities that are going to be coming forward. So yeah, it's really exciting times.
Yeah, that is one of the things, I have to say a huge thank you to Galvin Green and Duca del Cosmo shoes for supplying what you see me wearing, whilst we do these posts, and, for whenever I am attending any golf events. I'll look as good as I will because of the support from the products that they're putting on my back and on my feet. So huge thank you for that. The golf ball that I game is, it's the Bridgestone, as you know. If it's good enough for Tiger, it's good enough for Andy, and obviously Bryson, as I've made the switch to the X ball for this season. So I'm looking forward to getting out and playing golf. And I think one of the biggest challenges that we've got is the frustration of not having had to play golf. I haven't played golf since, I haven't been on a golf course since the 1st of October, apart from walking the local golf course, which I walk every week with Becky, and we're frustrated at looking at these golf courses, watching them develop and grow. The local course, Sutton Coldfield, I've got to say, incredible amount of work that they're doing on bringing back the originality of the bunkers to the greens, and probably get some snapshots of those once they allow us on the course with the clubs. But just the incredible sort of redesigns that's taking place. A lot of the golf courses that we know are not sitting down lightly, taking these lockdowns lightly. They're out there, they're doing the work. One thing I can say is there's no footprints, there's no mud baths, there's no trolley marks. The golf courses are starting to look really nice and lush and green. They're still a little bit on the damp side. We've had snow, and of course that thaws. And then we've had rain. We've had a good bit of wind the last few days. That's dried everything out pretty well. So kind of looking forward to that. Gareth and I are going to get to play a bit of golf once we get the chance, when the PGA allows him to sort of get out of the office. So we will be doing stuff. We will be bringing you some footage from our sort of attempts to play golf, having not played for over 6 months.
A match.
Oh, a match. So that was the curveball I was going to throw. It's actually sort of the challenge of a match, and we'll put it out on social. Just to get a chance to actually see us out there on the golf course. Maybe probably testing some new product. Certainly there are 1 or 2 clubs in my bag already. Are there any new clubs in your bag, Gareth?
Yeah, they are from today. Yeah.
Yes. Would you like to share? You can share. You don't share where you got them from, but or how you got them. But what will you be gaming this year?
I think Tour Edge. I've been really impressed when you had the initial conversation with Tour Edge and Malvin. And I just think I love the look of them, I love the profile. I'm really excited to use the new KBS shafts as well in there, just to see how they compare to. I've got at the moment the KBS Tour, the Tour ones, the steel ones.
Yes.
And at the moment, so it'd be nice to see that comparison. I've got very kindly sent a launch monitor the other day, almost like it's a garden one. I don't think it compares to GC Quad, but it'll do the business, and I'll be back home I think later on tonight testing them and see how they go on.
I think the difference between a £200 or £300 monitor and a £20,000 monitor is kind of more than just a few noughts. But but you will get some some interesting comparison. And the great thing is it's comparable information. When we're looking at launch monitors, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to say this, I seriously mean it. We've seen some great ones. The one you've got is that.
It's a voice caddy, like a swing caddy one.
Yeah, so swing caddy. Then you've got Mevo in around that sort of £400 or £500 mark. There's a GPR, PRGR.
Korea.
That's a couple of £100. Really good value for money. And if you're still doing stuff at home and you've got your net, then you can get some decent numbers out of those. 2-3 products at less than like £200, £300, £400, £500. Then you've got Mevo Plus coming in at around the 2,000, along with SkyTrack. The beauty about SkyTrack is you've got simulation platform with it as well, so that you can turn your redundant garage or garden room into a swing studio and get yourself some decent numbers, but also be able to get yourself a nice projected image. And of course, then you head into, you know, the sort of 5-figure products then, you know, with Flight Scope and, you know, GC2, GC Quad, TrackMan, you know, we're right up there, you know, sort of 20,000 by the time you put all your software together. You know, so there's lots of ways that you can actually continue to analyse your game. And, you know, these are the things that, you know, we will go through testing. We've had Mevo in here. I've used Flight Scope, you know, during analysis, albeit I'll take my own numbers in now using Quad. And of course all the putting tech that we've got, you know, and yeah, listen, you know, hack motion, you know, in as well, which is giving incredible data, you know, establishing what works for a player, you know, in terms of hack motion is a product that connects to your wrist. It's a phenomenal piece of equipment, you know, on the basis that how it determines what you're doing at the point of impact for putting. Can you imagine, you know, being able to measure the amount of movement you've got in the hands. We're not saying there shouldn't be any movement in the hands, but you know, if there's a twitch going on, then it will show up as a spike on the screen. It's quite fascinating, you know, looking at the data that comes through and trying to replicate what it was like when I was a bit twitchy. But yeah, it's really interesting to see how that moves, and you've got visual images of the motion of the hands as well. You did, a few weeks ago, you did some PGA golf show. The virtual platform that we had. Did you see any products there that sort of grabbed your attention?
It's a really difficult one, because compare it to when you've been in the past. When I was there last year, it was so difficult to interact, so difficult to see products. Saw them a little bit over like kind of Zooms and conference calls and things, but there was what I really noticed this year, there was a lack of stalls, there was a lack of exhibitors. I think there was about 250 exhibitors, where I think it was close to more like 1,800 when I was there in the flesh. But the one I did like, it's a bit quirky, by a company called Clean Flight Golf.
Okay.
So with COVID and everything that's going on, ball washers and things are out of the game.
Yes.
And this is a portable ball washer.
Ah, okay.
It's a weird one, I know, to get your head around. Go check it out on social, but it looks like a sports bottle with a cap on. It's got some brushes inside the bottle itself. It's got a little cradle to put your golf ball in. Up and down, job's a good and clean golf ball, but it's personal. So you don't have to kind of, because again, we don't know when ball washers and things are going to be back in play.
It's the reality of playing golf, isn't it?
Yeah, so that was a quirky one, it was a different one. I was intrigued to see the kind of new products from the manufacturers, but then when you watch the reviews from people on social media or on YouTube, there doesn't seem to be that much of an incremental change this year. I know even some tests have done, compared to 5 or 6 year old drivers, and they've got better numbers out of the older driver than they have the new driver. What do you think about that? What's that all about?
Well, you know, I think there's only so much that manufacturers can do with the product based on regulations. So, you know, the COR of a driver, which is the sort of trampoline effect of the face, puts a restriction on. And, you know, I think manufacturers, you know, are they almost trying to reinvent the wheel? I think that's very much where we are, which is where I think, you know, now we talked about it very, very briefly a few months ago when we talked about the Cobra printed putter. I was talking to a fellow last week about printing putters to be able to look at designs, and I think it's definitely somewhere we will go. Interestingly, he said that the resilience of them, they're kind of brittle, so the printing metal, element of things are not quite there yet, but it's great to be able to see all of these sort of innovations. But when it comes to drivers, the engine of the club is the shaft, and so there are restrictions on what the head can do, but what can that shaft do? We've seen the Autoflex, which is supposed to sort of create all sorts of rigidity at the point of impact and yet flex during the swing to create more club head speed. Listen, marketing is wonderful, isn't it? When you listen to marketing and to see what it does, interesting watching some of the reviews from the regular posters of product reviews. All suggesting that it's maybe not all that.
Mm-hmm.
But interestingly, then Adam Scott puts it in play.
Yeah.
So clearly it has to be beneficial if somebody of Adam Scott's quality of golfer. We know who he is. We know he's a major champion. He's probably an underachiever in terms of the tournaments that he should have won, or we felt his career should have led down the path of. Ultimately, he's going to put that shaft in there. So, shaft technology, I think, is something now that we're about to embark upon a shaft testing program here in the studio, which means it's all down to putting, with RoboPutt, and we're at final stages of developing the prototype that will do the testing. And then crucially, we were able to deliver the club on a consistent level. So that's where we're at with that. And over the next month or so, that is going to consume an awful lot of my time, which is one of the reasons why we sort of have a mini break going forward from here. But looking forward particularly, to being able to look towards that golf season. And it's almost like, see where we are at the moment. I feel like we're back where we were 30 years ago. As I said to you this morning, it's 40 plus years that I've been playing golf, and it's nearly 45 years. And this is the first time I actually feel like we're starting the season in where it should be. That's partly because we used to have bad or not so good winters, and it's still winter, so it's never great, but much wetter, more snow, more ice, golf courses frozen, closed, temporary greens that golf balls used to bounce like they were pitching on runways, all of that sort of stuff. That doesn't happen these days as much, and we would be shut out of golf because of the weather. But that would typically happen. We'd have a winter league that used to finish in June, if you remember those days. Partly because the golf course was closed so often, but when we are now going to get started at the end of March, beginning of April, and the golf season's there because it's Masters the following weekend. So I think we've got a great opportunity to sort of look at this year as a traditional year as we knew it when I was a kid, junior, playing golf. Before you were born, and subsequently. I know the age difference doesn't look anything like that, but but ultimately, it's going to be one of those strange years. I'm kind of looking forward to getting back on the golf course like everybody, but ultimately, I think we are, still, when are they going to start the tournaments, and when can golf pros get out on the golf course? Because I think the courses are going to be rammed full. Comment below if you have any different thoughts on that, but certainly I think we're going to see a very fast start. I'm anticipating being busy going into the early part of April, and again hopefully we'll be able to open the doors and get into the studio quickly to be able to facilitate the demand for the coaching that is going to be there. Because if you've not held the putter in the last 3 months, you're going to have forgotten an awful lot, unless of course you've been following the live platforms and what we've been doing on Insta. Just so that you know, Mrs. G will be back in the air over the next few weeks, and we'll be still continuing to do the Instagram lives because they're hugely successful. Get your questions in so that I'm preempted, but be there, ready for me on each Friday at 4, and we will have a bit of fun before we actually get back out onto the golf course. So that, in essence, for me, is where we are. There's no tour talk because actually they haven't even started the tournaments yet. There's nothing in Europe because it's WGC, and WGC's in Florida. They're just about to tee off, so we don't even know what the first round's looking like yet because it's Thursday as we're recording. And we're doing this because, well, Gareth's going to be busy on Monday with his inductions and the like, and he's also going to be looking after the posts going in so that you still get the regular posts as you've always known them in the transition period, whilst we then go into what will be the new programme. So thank you for being a tremendous audience. Gareth, thank you for being a tremendous agent for me, because you've connected me with an awful lot of people that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do so without your help. So you are very much appreciated.
Thank you.
And I do wish you all the very, very best going forward into your new venture. And you know, as much as we are reasonably close,
Thank you.
it'd be a goodbye from me and a goodbye from him for now. And who knows what it will look like in a month or so's time. Stay well, stay safe. We'll catch up with you in due course. And I'll let you know how the putting test goes with approximately 10,000 balls rolled across the putting greens here. Might be looking for new putting carpets and might have worn a few golf balls out. Thankfully, Bridgestone have been a Trojan and they've dropped us plenty of golf balls to keep going with. So you look after yourselves and we'll catch up real soon.